for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 22 coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Red Zone Coins. Use code VENOM at checkout for 10% off. Yo, what's up guys, VenomFire here back from the video, and today we're going to bring you guys my full nickel 3-3-5 wide defensive scheme. So what I'm going to do in this video is pretty much talk about every defensive setup I have for the 3-3-5 wide, all the blitzes, all the coverage defenses, and pretty much everything kind of combined into one. Make it easier for you guys to watch and understand the full scheme. 3-3-5 wide will probably be the meta this year. You'll see a ton of people run this defense. It's probably the most balanced as far as blitzing, coverage, dropping back, doing whatever you want out of it. So that's why you'll see a lot of this. So I think this video will be very helpful for those of you trying to get a better understanding on it. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys drop that subscribe button, drop a big like on this video as well if you want to see some similar videos to this one. But again, make sure you hit that subscribe button. About 67% of my viewers are not subscribed, so if you're watching and you're not subbed, what are you doing? Go down below right now and drop that sub button. But going back to the video, 3-3-5 wide, I'm in Miami Dolphins playbook. Some people like Bills playbook, some people like 4-6, some people like Giants. I am in Miami, that is my playbook. And so that's pretty much what we're going to be running. So when you're running nickel 3-3-5 wide, it's important to go to these subs. First thing I like to do is get a safety at the linebacker position. They're going to be more athletic, they're going to get better catching animations, and overall you're going to want to use a safety. The next thing you're going to do is go down here. You want some good coverage, guys. The Buccaneers are perfect for this. You got Levante David on one side, Devin White on the other, and then you can throw your DNs, Shaq Barrett, JPP, and then in the big middle, you want a guy who can clog the lane and stop the run. Vita Vea is perfect for that. So those are your adjustments. Let's talk about our audibles. We're going to be going over a total of around 4 plays in today's video. There's a lot more plays in this, but we're only going to talk about 4. Those plays are going to be the Mike Blitz 3. We're going to go over this cover 4 show 2. Sam Will Blitz we will talk about a little bit, and then the last play is going to be the Mike Blitz 0, which is a little extra video because I never actually talked about that in a separate video, so little extra for you guys there. So here are our 4 plays we're going to be talking about. Those are them. Of course, there's some basic man coverage stuff as well, but we're going to start out in the best, most popular play, which is the Mike Blitz 3. Let's talk about coaching adjustments a little bit. I can't go into coaching adjustments in this practice mode, which is super annoying. Hopefully they fix that. I've been asking them to fix that since this game came out. But what you're going to set your zone drops to, it will depend play to play. I'll try and speak it for each play. Before, this first play, Mike Blitz 3, what you're going to have it at for our first setup is going to be 10-yard curl flats. That's the only thing you'll adjust. Make sure you also leave auto flip on for pretty much all of these setups. That will stay the same. So first one, curl flat, 10 yards. Let's hop into the adjustment. And also these stock curl flats play around 10 yards, so it actually does kind of work into our favor. What we're going to be doing for our first setup, I like to go ahead, press my defensive backs. And we're going to start out with a little bit of a blitz setup. There's a couple of different ways to run this blitz. There is 2 ways that we'll talk about. For the first way to run it, you're going to go ahead, spread your defensive line, you're going to slant outside, and then you're just going to contain. So again, you press, spread your defensive line, slant your defensive line outside, and then contain by double tapping that R1 button. Again, press, shade over the top is something I like to do. So here's your setup. It's definitely an aggressive setup. You're blitzing 5. You leave your user on an island by himself to defend the middle of the field, but it can definitely pay off. And those 10-yard curl flats do range very effectively. They will defend a lot of ground. So as far as user, you kind of want to stand around here, snap the ball. You see I can engage. Now I ran a 6-man protection play there. Next time I'll send out more people, but that was a look at it, and you saw we had pretty good pressure coming off the edge right there. So again, something like a PA boot over, I'll just set up something. Let's go with something like this. Well, here's the updated setup. So basic setup like that. Again, we're going to press, shade over the top, spread our defensive line, slant outside, and contain. Now, I'm also going to go through these setups a little bit quicker than I would in a normal video because we have four plays, not 4 setups, and we have a couple of setups per play, so that would be understandable as to why I would do that. So, again, here's a look at your player. You can stand wherever. For this play, I'm probably going to stand over here to the left side so I can defend a quick wide receiver streak, whatever the case may be. Again, when the ball is snapped, you're going to kind of hover around like this, and there you see it, the pressure coming through. Now the pressure can come from two different places. It'll be your outside linebacker or your defensive end being in a disengaged situation. It's a little bit better, in my opinion, if your linebacker comes through, but it still does work in pretty much a little bit less time if you get that defensive disengage. If you do want to know how to completely prevent it, you can straight up engage your defensive line. So I could just stand here, and we're just going to send out a couple of routes, but when the ball is snapped, I can just straight up kind of engage with the defensive lineman there. Usually if you'll engage with the guard, the outside linebacker will come in, but if you engage with the center, that's where you see the defensive end comes through. So that is the difference. Let's hop into setup number 2, blitz number 2 rather, out of this play. The other way to run this blitz, we're going to press, we're going to shade over the top still, but what we're going to do here is we're going to slant our defensive line inside. Our defensive line is already pinch stock, so we don't have to do that. And then we're going to contain. So we're just going to kind of stand over here. Now this one's a little bit more tricky with your user. You have to be a little bit more on top of your game. You're going to kind of stand around here. I noticed standing here is the best, and when the ball is snapped, you can kind of like rotate over. It doesn't really work for play action, as a lot of things in this game. There you see pretty solid coverage on that crosser though, but like I said, for a lot of things in the game, play action actually is not terrible this year, but we'll just send out 5 routes, something I forget to do. Again, stand right about here. Now, this one I showed better in the video. I honestly don't remember how to run this one completely, but you kind of want to stand over here, rotate over, and there you see the blitz working perfectly. So that is how you do it. I'll show the replay, and then we'll move on, because again, don't want to make this video, 30 minutes long, but we will show it in depth. You see here, I'm standing in between the center and the left guard. The ball snaps. I kind of rotate over. I don't do a whole lot here, but what I do is I kind of occupy this left guard. Realistically, this setup probably works on its own without my user in this particular scenario, but usually you want your user there to kind of take up another guy. You see how Lavonte David is able to get off the edge. Pretty much what the magic is, here's the defensive line. You crash them outside, they get this looping animation, and they're going to be able to occupy 4 of the 5 offensive linemen, which will in turn allow one of your guys to get free off the edge. Certainly a solid blitz. So both of these are really good. If you want to, a blitz that's a little bit better, I would go with this one, but the other one is definitely solid. It's probably more reliable. This one's probably a little bit less reliable. The ball is snapped. Once again, I do forget to cancel that play action or go to a different play, but I think you guys get a good idea. These aren't too adjusty. Let's hop into a complete coverage defense out of this look though. And probably my favorite way to run coverage this year would be to either spread my defensive line. If I'm going against a runner, I'm going to shift to either the left, the right, or just down the middle straight up. It is pretty solid run defense as well, but what you can do for this setup is you can go to a double Mabel look. It really depends on how he's playing. For the double Mabel, you're going to set your curl flats to 20 and your flats to 5. What I'm going to do is throw both outside linebackers in hard flat zones like so. Last thing I'll do is shade over the top. Again, the cloud flats will play the same as a hard flat if you adjust your zone adjustments. You'll snap the ball. Now the drag is going to be defended. Y is going to be defended very, very well. And then the last thing you have to worry about is that delay fade. So one of the best plays in the game of locking it up very, very well right there. Again, one more time. Here is a look at your player. He's going to snap the ball. And you notice how just the stock curl flats are actually doing a really good job on that crossing route. Now X is open a little bit. Maybe we want to adjust that. It might be something you want to do based upon this play right now. But the crosser is defended very well in that particular scenario. So let's actually move into play number 2, which I'm going to go to the cover 4 show 2. Probably my second most used play out of this formation, the cover 4. Cover 4 is very good this year if you know how to use it right and you're not running it every single play. So for cover 4, it's going to be a match-based defense. What this means is you cannot adjust your zone drops at all unless you want to run the cover 4 with those quarter flats playing at a certain zone. Note that they will not match onto anything. So we're going to run the match coverage. In this 3-3-5 wide is a pretty good, one of the better stock formations to adjust cover 4 out of. The reason being you have an extra rusher right here, an extra blitzer out of the edge with a coverage linebacker that you can do stuff with. I can put him in a bluff blitz zone, which you see how he's going to be in a 3 receiver hook, meaning that he can still match onto players. I can put him in a vertical hook. I can put him in a hard flat. I can man him up on somebody, so I can also QB spy him. You give yourself a ton of options when you do this. Let's set up, once again, one of these PA boot over setups, just putting a ton of crossing routes on the field. There you see, you would have hoped for him to man up on an RB or match on to RB. It's fine if he did not do that, which he didn't there, so if I notice that happening, what I can do is just switch up my play. I can Now I can cross man him onto the running back if I notice that happening a lot, and it just gives you a lot of power with your adjustments out of this particular formation. We'll run the setup again, and the coverage should be a lot better. Now, I still do want to talk about who to user, because this linebacker might not be the best to user in this 3 receiver hook zone. And you see the coverage was pretty solid there. The post was open a little bit, the crosser was open a little bit, which I wasn't really using all the ways. I guess we just can't get pressure. Jags the line best in the game, apparently. But you saw they kind of had a step on him. What you can do instead is you can actually user a different player. So I can still man up him on whoever you want. I can vertical hook him. I can do whatever. But what I can do now, and this is something I usually do out of cover 4, I'm going to user this quarter on the short side of the field. This is the short side. I usually have to worry about deep posts, things like that. But for the most part, if they just run a stock PA boot over with a delay fade, B is going to be defended, Y is going to be defended, and then I'm probably going to help out on X. If I notice my quarter's getting burnt, though, what I can do is, some people don't like to go with the complete press coverage. I'll show you guys what cover 4 looks like unpressed, but some people don't like it, so I do want to show you guys both ways. Here again is just the stock PA boot over look. So you have the crosser, but it almost looks like he has more separation. So I would recommend pressing. Now, if there's a speed discrepancy, which there might be here, DJ Chark's pretty fast, then that's where you could create an issue or a problem. So we've kind of gone through the ways to run this cover 4 overall. I don't recommend really blitzing out of it because you do have a quarter flat over here, so wouldn't be my first option to blitz out of it. A couple of other ways to run it, of course, but if you want more ways to run these plays, of course, make sure you check out the individual videos I did on these. Dropped it on 3 of the 4 plays besides this Mike Blitz 0. So if you want 10-minute videos on all of these, check those out and you'll be able to run these even better. Just trying to make it easier, put it all in one place for you guys to understand a little bit better. So that was pretty much it for the cover 4. Again, I can put this X player in a hard flat, bluff blitz, QB spy, man him up. So I go over all the ideas and I show all the players against an actual gun bunch look, so it's a different formation in that video. Now I do want to talk about some run defense things. We have not really mentioned the run defense in this video, so a big reason of this formation being good is because of its balance. It's very good against the run, very good against the pass as well. Definitely will help it. So for the setup, we're going to be running this inside zone out of bunch tight end. Again, this is not under center run defense. This is strictly inside zone D. What we're going to do, though, is we are going to run this out of any play. I'll just run Samuel Blitz because that individual video was actually kind of centered around run defense. So what we're going to do for this setup is we're going to pinch our linebackers, shift our defensive line to the right, and slant our defensive line to the left. You're going to stand around here with your user, and then when the football is actually snapped, you kind of want to sprint in there. We're actually going to show you what it looks like when it's timed a little bit, and that is what it looks like. You shoot through the gap. Pretty traditional stuff. As long as that slot wide receiver doesn't block you, you will be golden. Of course, 5 defensive linemen on the line of scrimmage is always super good for run defense, so that is the reason, one of the main reasons this formation became popular. And this is one of the main reasons that you see halfback base used a lot, because this run defense doesn't work super good against base for obvious reasons, including the pulling guard. So you notice what happened there. I didn't move my user enough to the left. If you don't do that, the center will usually pick you up. You have to force the center to double team, then you run through after. It shouldn't really affect the play too much, but it is an important thing if you do not move your user around here. So again, inside zone, we snap the ball, run through, and this is not perfect run defense. You see sometimes it does not work. Inside zone, pretty good this year. Running the ball is pretty good this year again. We'll switch formations just to go with something like this. The inside zone is going to kind of work the same. You just do this to the opposite side of the running back. And there are other ways. Sometimes if you're just completely getting gashed, what you can do is just straight up go ahead and pinch your D-line slant inside. Sometimes that works for me. Again, I'm going to kind of stand over here with my user, wait for him to double team. And again, you see I did it terribly those last 2 times. But that is the setup for the run defense. Don't want to spend too much on that, but as far as the Samuel Blitz play, a lot of the setups are very similar to the Mike Blitz 3, so it's the same type of, blitz setups. Stand here, pinch everybody, and there you get the guy containing off the edge. So a lot of the same stuff. Didn't really introduce a lot of new concepts different than the Mike Blitz 3, besides showing a couple of run defense setups. I talked about I-form setups in that separate video, so if you want to check that out, you guys are more than welcome to do that. I would talk about it more, but because of how similar it is to the Mike Blitz 3, there's not a whole lot of new concepts for me to introduce that I didn't talk about in that. So we're probably just going to go ahead and actually move on to the Mike Blitz Zero, which is a new concept. So this is going to be a man coverage look for you guys. I know some of you guys do want to run man coverage. It has been brought to the attention. So I will show man coverage. Now, man coverage is not my favorite this year. I don't think you can sit back in coverage and run man coverage. I think you have to send pressure if you're going to run man coverage. You can't allow someone to get 5 seconds in the pocket and they will torch you every single time. You just don't have enough things this year. You would have to rush 3, have a safety up top, have a couple of extra zones down below so you don't get burnt on an out route, corner route, and it's just not super good this year dropping into coverage. So what you want to do is send heat doing it. So our blitz concepts are going to kind of stay the same. You're just running man coverage. So you're going to press, you're going to shade over the top 1000%. But when the blitz happens, we're going to send out these routes so you can get an accurate representation. But ball snapped, hover around over here. Now you see this was actually a look of getting 2 people free. Now there are some negatives to this blitz as well, but I will show you guys the replay of it working. Pretty much the main negative, as you see, we got 2 people free there. Very, very solid. The biggest negative with sending types of blitzes like these this year is it just takes you so long to user. If you have your user at the line of scrimmage, the ball is snapped, you have to run all the way back up here, and that can certainly be an issue. Pretty much opening up deeper crossers. When you're running cover 0, you need to have your user back, so that is the reason that I don't like man coverage. You can send these 5 people in this same kind of standpoint, hope that they get free. It's not going to really be a guarantee, and it won't happen a lot of the time. It's going to be traditional blocking stuff, but if you want, you can just rush the 5, wait for a disengage or a shed, run cover 0, and hope that he doesn't have 2 man coverage beating routes. I don't like to run man coverage play after play after play after play. I'm more of a mix it in, 3rd and 10 type situations. If I can't get off the field, I'll definitely try running some man coverage stuff, but I highly would not recommend running cover 0 every play. That's not the way to run defense this year. The other setup, of course, is going to be to slant inside, contain this setup. If we don't, go ahead and have our user at the line of scrimmage, this blitz never really comes through, or we actually got the disengage glitch there. So that is a good setup against PA boot over. Those contains very solid when you can get them to wrap around that way, but I did not mean to do that, of course. I meant to send out 5 routes, but are we in cover 3? No, we're not. So again, here's a look at your setup, something like this. Again, I'm not going to user at the line of scrimmage, and you see that is what I meant. Usually we'll get blocked. The other blitz has a chance of getting through. This one really has 0 chance of getting through unless you get some kind of a contained glitch. So the slant inside one, you kind of have to have your user there. So it's, of course, a little bit less efficient, but if you do have your user down here, you can kind of hover around, force a contain, and if they are running PA boot over with that, play action, that is a super good play to beat that, as you've seen right here. But that is pretty much going to wrap up the video. If you guys did enjoy, drop a big thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you guys want to see a defensive ebook, which playbook you want to see, because I've seen it's kind of difficult for me to drop these ebooks when there's not a separate meta. A lot of times I would rather do it if there was a separate meta. Everybody's using this playbook like a 4-6 or a Miami, but I've seen so many different playbooks. Tough for me to pick one that I would want to do. So let me know which ones you guys are running, but that's going to do for the video. If you guys enjoyed, drop a big thumbs up again, subscribe to the channel, follow my links down below in the description, and peace. I'm out of here.